crime, a story that started with an escape from justice in North Carolina and ended with murder on the tropical islands off the coast of Central America. Tonight, an American man and woman sit in a Panamanian jail accused of killing at least 5 American expatriates over a period of several years, stealing their cash and property. Vicki Mabry unveils this sordid tale of multiple murders in paradise.
Bill and Vicki Mabry from Nightline, from New York.
How are you?
I'm okay. Did you kill those 5 people?
Not really at liberty to talk about my case.
This is the man Panamanian police say has confessed to 5 murders, killing his neighbors and friends to get their property and their cash.
Everybody knew he was crazy, but nobody thought he was a killer.
Sandy Hodge moved to Bocas del Toro 5 years ago to get away from the States and live in peace by the sea. Where did he kill her?
Right there.
Right over here?
Yes.
She never expected what happened here. This island chain off the coast of Panama is where you come to escape from the rat race or the law. Most say it's paradise. But that all changed when a couple called Bill and Jane Cortez arrived a few years ago.
I mean, he was loud and big and wild, but mostly everybody just kind of ignored him.
He was known here as Wild Bill Cortez.
They're breeding us out, they're taxing us to death, they're removing our jobs.
But it turns out he was really William Dathan Hulbert, a white supremacist from North Carolina.
Our culture, we feel, is the pinnacle of achievement in Western society and has been destroyed for the last 100 years or so after the Civil War.
Bring it behind your... Stop right now!
He was wanted in the U.S. for various crimes, including alleged real estate schemes. He and his girlfriend left the United States altogether after eluding police during a high-speed chase.
And we're going up the hill, off-road, exit 1.
They arrived in Bocas in 2007 and quickly became a presence. He was known for his guns, his parties, and his trademark symbol, the skull and crossbones. Then, Americans began to disappear. First, there was Michael Brown, his wife, and teenage son. Cortez moved into their house. In 2009, Bo Eisler, a former gallery owner from New Mexico, seemed to split town all of a sudden, leaving his property behind. Wild Bill said he bought it.
And that struck me as very odd. It was the talk of the town. And I said, God, if I would have known he was going to give the house away, we would have bought it.
But things really started heating up in March when yet another person went missing. This time, it was Cheryl Hughes, Sandy's close friend. And once again, Wild Bill said he had bought her land.
That was her dream home. She would never, ever sell that property.
And did you hear that Wild Bill had gotten that?
Yes, and when I heard that, I knew that something was terribly wrong. She just would not have sold that property, ever.
5 missing people with one common denominator, Bill Cortez.
This man was my neighbor. He was at my house for dinner. His wife, they came over, they were my neighbors. Knew them for 2.5 years. It's just Wild Bill and his wife.
Cher Hughes and her husband Keith Worley lived together on their piece of paradise.
Right here.
Watch out.
Come on. Come on.
You're
right
a
here,
good
Jack.
boy, Jack. Honey, get him.
Their own private island just across the water from where Wild Bill and Jane settled in. And Cher was really happy?
Unbelievably happy. And we both got that little island and we said, yeah, we could die here. This is where we could spend the rest of our days.
Keith and Cher's marriage eventually went south and they separated. But even afterwards, they remained in regular contact, texting several times a day, until late March.
The last 3 or 4 texts I got were just a little strange. They weren't quite what Cher would say. And she indicated in a text that she had met someone and she was leaving.
Keith says he now knows those messages that didn't sound like Cher weren't. It was Wild Bill, he says, impersonating Cher. Keith, Sandy, and others tried to alert local authorities.
I said, Cher Hughes was missing. She was a very close friend of mine. Something's wrong. Her dogs are not with her. She would not have ever sold her island.
Why wouldn't the police look when you tell them, my wife is missing?
It's Central America. A lot of people come here to be missing.
Keith even confronted Wild Bill.
So I said, Bill, show me some papers. Show me you really bought something, because Cher would never sell the island, certainly not without talking to me about it first, because that was our home.
Police finally mounted an investigation into Wild Bill after an expat blogger broke and pursued the story. and Cher's concerned relatives, including Keith, flew to the mainland to meet with police.
So I finally went to Panama City with her aunt and her sister, and I said, he has an automatic weapon, he has an AK-47 on the property. Is that probable cause to, execute a search warrant? And it was.
But by then, Wild Bill and Jane, really William Holbert and Laura Michelle Reese, were missing themselves. They had fled Bocas del Toro. Law enforcement finally caught up with them in Nicaragua. Reese is also being held now as an accomplice to murder. Armed with a warrant, police searched Hacienda Cortez. They asked Keith to come along when they found what looked like Cher's belongings.
They found her camera, her credit cards, her purse. So they just wanted me to positively identify those items. The last thing I thought, I'd be identifying her body coming out of a hole in his backyard. So they...
Oh my God.
Yeah, horrific.
5 bodies turned up. Cher Hughes, Bo Eisler, the entire Brown family, in back of the house Holbert allegedly bought from the Browns. Do you sense any remorse?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think he seems to be very calm.
Panamanian Police Chief Gustavo Perez interviewed Wild Bill in jail. How did he kill all these people?
He used a .38 caliber, and he was saying very proudly that he shot them in the back of the neck. All the victims.
He shot everyone in the back of the neck.
Exactly.
Shot, he says, when they weren't expecting it. Police continue searching for other victims, including missing Panamanians who worked at the properties Wild Bill took over. Cher was his undoing.
Yeah, well, he picked the wrong girl. He had no idea how many people loved her and how many people would care. He just got greedy and picked somebody that was special.
The police really want to get the message out that this is a safe place, that people can still come. Do you feel that?
No. No. The police do not know what's going on. They really don't. As we talk amongst ourselves, we all say, yeah, you say you're Sandy Hodge and that you owned a salon and you came from California, but how do we know? And that's how everybody feels now. We think we know one another, but no, not really.
For now, the island Cher Hughes loved so much is empty. Will you go back out to the island?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You're going to live there?
Absolutely. You take Cher's ashes and bury her there.
This is Vicki Mabry for Nightline in Bocas del Toro, Panama.